Welcome! Today we're flying the 201 miles from Pittsburgh International Airport in Findlay, Pennsylvania, to Buffalo Niagara International Airport in Buffalo, New York. The route of flight is planned directly to Elwood City, then Tidioute, Dunkirk, Buffalo, then direct to the airport. Here's the route, depicted on a map. We're ready for departure, and lining up for takeoff on runway 10 center. After lining up, 40% in one was set and the aircraft was checked to be maintaining the centerline, before additional thrust was added. This avoids loss of centerline and potentially running off the runway.
V1T. Positive rate of climb.
The heads-up display, known as HUD, makes it easy to maintain desired course. It's as simple as keeping the circle inside the bigger circle. After initially departing on runway heading, we're now cleared to Elwood City. After moving Elwood City to the top, we go into plan mode and check we're about to go to the right place. We select LNAV, rotate the knob back to map mode, and ensure LNAV is active, and the aircraft is turning towards Elwood City. It is good practice to keep the heading bug in front of the aircraft, as an additional reference of the correct course. When practical, the scale of the navigation display is changed to show the next fix. Attention is paid approaching and during the level off, to ensure the aircraft does not continue to climb beyond the flight level assigned. And here we are, cruising at flight level 230. This is a perfect time for a passenger announcement, which can include the route, time remaining, whether en route and at the destination, and how long passengers have to move around, before the seatbelt sign is turned on, during the descent to land. The pilots now turn their attention to setting up for the approach, starting with obtaining the latest weather. The altimeter setting can be set for use later during the descent. The winds are from 200 at 11 knots, we can anticipate runway 23. It will be a visual approach, backed up by the ILS. If we do end up on a visual approach, the missed approach instructions will be provided by the controller. As we've covered in other videos, the briefing strip contains a lot of the information we need to set up for the approach. We'll work from left to right, then we'll review the chart and additional information prior to conducting an approach brief. The first item to set is the ILS frequency, 111.3. Some pilots prefer to set up their own side, however in this case we'll set the frequency on both radios and make those the active frequencies. We next set the final approach course, twice, to 235 degrees, on the MCP. The final approach fix altitude is checked, and a 2-mile ring created around it, for situational awareness. To create a 2-mile ring, the final approach fix name is copied to the scratch pad, then added in the fix page, and /2 added below. Next, the decision altitude is set. We expect a visual approach, and have decided to set this in case the weather changes. The minimum we can descend to on this approach without adequate visual reference is 926 feet. Moving right, the touchdown zone elevation of 726 feet is noted. The minimum safe altitudes are reviewed, 2,800 feet to the north and 3,900 feet to the south of Clump. If assigned the ILS approach, the mist will have us climb to 3,000 feet, proceed to Wabas, or will hold. Here, we can visually review the mist approach. The airport's lighting system is reviewed. They have ALSIF 2 lights, and poppy on the right side of the runway. The minimums, of 926 feet are also displayed here, and apply to the ILS. We've already set this using the briefing strip. The required visibility for all categories of aircraft to fly this ILS approach are 1,800 feet, or half a mile. The current weather report shows visual flight conditions, and therefore exceeds the minimum required. Looking at the airport diagram, we see the runway is 8,829 feet long, which exceeds the length required in our landing assessment. We will be making a left turn off the runway after landing, and note the hotspot. It'll be a short taxi to the terminal, so we'll taxi slow to permit engine cool down, and give the APU time to start. An approach brief is performed, which starts by verbalizing threats during the approach, such as weather, traffic density, terrain and familiarity with the approach, to name a few. The brief continues like this.
We're expecting a visual approach, backed up by the ILS, to runway 23. Chart 11-2, November 26th of 21, effective December 2nd. Frequency is 111.3, and the final approach course is 235 degrees, 2187 at the final approach fix, and a decision altitude of 926 feet. Touchdown zone elevation is 726 feet. MSA 2800 to the north, and 3,900 to the south. ILS mist is climbed to 3,000, direct Wabas, where we'll hold as published. ALSIF 2 lighting, and poppy on the right side. Mints are 926. We require 1,800 feet, or half a mile, which we have. The runway is 8,829 feet long, more than our landing assessment, and we'll be making a left turn off. There's a hot spot near the runway intersection. It'll be a flaps 30, auto brakes 2 landing.
Passing 180, the lights are switched on. We're slightly high of the VNAV descent path, so have extended the flight spoilers. There's a fairly strong wind from the west, but expect that to decrease during the descent. We've slowed the aircraft, and will aim to be prepared, in case we're given an early turn to base, saving time flying away from the airport. The 2-mile ring around the final approach fix we created earlier is now visible on the navigation display, making it easy to see where we intend to be fully configured for landing. We no longer require the flight spoilers extended and arm them for landing. We're now descending through 6,800 feet, with a great view of the Buffalo area on the left side of the aircraft. Once assigned a heading, we can extend the runway final approach path. To do this, we'll copy clump to the scratch pad, put it back as the next fix, then enter the inbound course. We can now see traffic on the navigation display, but they'll not be a factor during our approach. However, we'll keep a good lookout for any traffic. The Buffalo Airport can now be seen to the left of the aircraft. And now we see the traffic that's ahead of us. We continue to configure the aircraft, and now lower the gear. We're given a base turn and a descent to 2,200 feet. We'll descend using level change, as we're not on a VNAV path. Again, the 2-mile ring gives us excellent situational awareness. And as you would expect, we're given an intercept heading and cleared for the visual approach to runway 23. We've selected approach mode, and when established set the missed approach altitude. Let's assume the controller has assigned 3,000 feet, in the event of a missed approach, matching the ILS. Just like on climb out at Pittsburgh, the circle and circle on the HUD shows we are where we want to be.
Approaching minimums. 200. Minimums. 100. 50. 40. 30. 20. 10.
And here we are in Buffalo, just like discussed during the approach brief. We made a left turn off the runway, and the terminal is close by. Thanks for reviewing the airport diagram. We know to taxi slow to permit engine cool down, and for the APU to start up. If you enjoyed this short flight from Pittsburgh to Buffalo, please consider clicking the like button, and if you hadn't already, please subscribe to learn of our future videos, in which we'll continue to learn about the 737. Thank you.